The entire forest was on fire. Smoke blackened the sky. The heat was unbearable, and everything seemed lost. In the middle of this inferno, a wild Mustang fought desperately to survive, trapped between flames, exhaustion, and fear. But then, something incredible happened. A man appeared. Would he risk his life for a wild horse? And would the Mustang trust him in time to escape? What happened next will leave you speechless. The air was thick with smoke, the sky darkened by swirling ash. Everything around him crackled and burned. The towering pines, the dry underbrush, the earth itself. Flames twisted through the forest, devouring everything in their path. Blaze ran. His powerful hooves pounded the scorched ground, his sleek chestnut coat glistening with sweat and soot. His muscles burned, but he couldn't stop. The inferno was closing in from every side, trapping him in a nightmare with no escape. The fire had come fast, a sudden explosion of heat and terror. He had been grazing peacefully near a stream when the first blast of smoke filled his lungs. Then came the sound, a deep, terrifying roar, like a monster consuming the land. Instinct took over. He bolted, dodging trees, pushing through burning branches that scorched his sides. His wild, untamed spirit told him to keep moving, to find an opening, anything that would lead him to safety. But now there was nowhere left to run. The flames surged ahead, surrounding him on three sides. The heat was unbearable, singing his mane, burning his nostrils with every breath. His dark eyes darted left and right, frantic, desperate, trapped. The only direction left was a narrow path leading into a canyon, its rocky walls rising high above him. It was dangerous, but the fire was worse. With a final, desperate breath, Blaze charged forward, his hooves kicking up embers as he disappeared into the canyon's shadows. Miles away, Owen Carter stood on the edge of a burning ridge. His breathing was steady but tense behind the seal of his oxygen mask. At 46, the seasoned U.S. Forest Service firefighter had seen his share of infernos, but something about this one felt different. The radio on his shoulder crackled to life. "Carter, we're pulling back. The fire's spreading too fast. North Sector is a lost cause." Owen looked out across the burning valley. He knew exactly what that meant. Everything in the fire's path would be left to burn, including any wildlife still trapped inside. A knot tightened in his stomach. He hated this part. "Copy that," he replied, voice tight. "I'll do one last sweep before heading out." His eyes scanned the flames again. Something in his gut told him to stay just a little longer. Then he saw it. A flash of movement in the canyon below. At first, it was just a blur through the smoke. But as the wind shifted, he saw it clearly: a horse. A wild Mustang running for its life. Owen's heart clenched. The stallion was heading straight toward a dead-end cliff. No, no, no. Without thinking, Owen grabbed his radio. "Hold position," he barked. "I see something. I'm going in." "Carter, what the hell are you?" Owen switched the radio off. Then he ran. Blaze skidded to a stop, his hooves kicking up ash and dust. His muscles trembled, lungs burning, but nothing compared to the horror in front of him, a sheer cliff. The canyon had betrayed him. He turned, chest heaving, but behind him the wildfire raged closer, swallowing everything in a wall of glowing embers. He was out of time. His wild eyes darted frantically for a way out, but there was none. His heart pounded. His instincts screamed. Then, through the smoke, a new scent. Something strange. Unfamiliar. And then, a voice. "Easy there, big guy." Blaze's ears snapped forward. His body froze, nostrils flaring as he searched for the sound. Through the haze, a figure emerged wearing heavy fire gear, helmet, and mask. He wasn't running from the flames. He was walking toward them. Blaze stomped his hooves. Instinct screamed danger. But the man didn't stop. Slowly, cautiously, he raised a hand. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said, his voice calm. "But we need to get out of here now." Blaze's breathing was ragged. Muscles coiled tight, ready to bolt or fight. The man took a slow step closer. The fire roared behind them. Smoke thickened. They were out of time. Blaze had to decide: fight, run, or trust. And in the next second, he made his choice. His legs shook with exhaustion. His hoofs slipped against the loose dirt near the cliff's edge. His body was soaked in sweat. His lungs screamed from the heat and smoke. The fire was closing in, a living, breathing monster. Its orange glow reflected in his wide, terrified eyes. The man stepped closer again. "Hey, easy now," he said. His voice stayed steady despite the chaos. I know you're scared, but we don't have much time. Blaze's tail whipped. His body tensed like a coiled spring. He could feel the human scent, smoke, sweat, and something sharp, metal, maybe. Then a flick of his ears. Hesitation. The man saw it. It was enough. He took another step. Blaze's hooves skidded dangerously near the edge. The ground was loose. If he moved wrong, he'd fall. All right, listen, big guy, the firefighter murmured, glancing at the sheer drop. I know you don't trust me. I wouldn't trust me either. Slowly, he unclipped a rope from his belt, making sure Blaze saw every movement. No surprises. No sudden moves. Blaze's nostrils flared. His eyes flicked to the rope, body trembling with indecision. The firefighter stepped forward again. Just a few feet now. The fire surged. Sparks rained down. Smoke pressed in. If they didn't move now, it wouldn't matter if Blaze trusted him or not, they'd both die. Look, I know you can run, the man said. I've seen it. But you can't run through fire. You'll never make it. Blaze stomped again. His ears flicked wildly. The flames screamed at him to flee, but the human wasn't forcing him. He was waiting. Letting Blaze decide. The stallion's eyes locked onto the man's open hand. A breath. A choice. And finally a nudge. Barely touching, but it was enough. Owen exhaled. All right, partner, he muttered. Let's get out of here. He moved to Blaze's side, looping the rope gently but firmly around the Mustang's thick neck. No tightening, just connection. Blaze tensed, muscles rippling, but didn't fight. Trust. Fragile. Delicate. But right now it was all they had. The ground trembled as another burning pine collapsed into the canyon, sending sparks flying. The wall of flames was now less than 30 feet away. No more time. Owen pulled on the rope, clicking his tongue. Come on, big guy, move. Blaze hesitated for just half a second. Then he leapt forward. Owen ran beside him, tugging the rope gently, just enough to guide, not restrain. Blaze's powerful muscles surged, hooves kicking up ash as they thundered toward a narrow trail winding back up the canyon wall. The fire chased them, roaring like an angry beast. Blaze ran faster than he ever had. Owen's lungs burned. His legs screamed for relief. But he didn't stop. He could feel the fire snapping at their heels, the heat clawing at his back. Just a little farther. The trail curved sharply. Blaze's hooves skidded in the loose dirt, but he adjusted mid-stride, pushing forward. The Mustang wanted to live. Owen saw the opening ahead. A break in the flames. If they could just reach it. Suddenly, the ground gave way beneath Blaze's front hooves. A hole, hidden beneath ash and debris, collapsed under his weight. The Mustang screamed. His legs buckled, his body tumbled forward. Owen lunged, grabbing for the rope just as Blaze fell. The rope snapped tight in his grip, friction burning through his gloves. Blaze dangled off the edge of the trail, hooves scrambling for traction, eyes wide with terror. He tried to pull himself up, but the ground crumbled beneath him. Owen's muscles screamed. His boots dug deep into the dirt. But Blaze was too heavy. The rope began to slip. The stallion let out a desperate cry, his body sinking lower. Owen clenched his jaw. Not today, big guy, he growled. You're not dying on me. With a final surge of strength, he pulled. Blaze kicked with everything he had. Then his hooves caught the edge. With a mighty lurch, Blaze hauled himself back up. He landed beside Owen, his sides heaving, body trembling. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Both alive. Owen let out a breathless, shaky laugh. Blaze snorted, his ears flicking forward. Yeah, Owen muttered, placing a hand on his sweat-soaked flank. That was too damn close. But they weren't safe yet. The fire was still coming. Owen's legs shook as he forced himself upright, lungs raw from the smoke, arms screaming with fatigue. But he refused to let go of the rope. They were alive. Blaze stood beside him, powerful chest rising and falling. His dark coat glistened in the flickering firelight. His ears flicked toward Owen, and for the first time, he didn't look afraid. Owen pressed a hand against the Mustang's neck. You good, big guy? Blaze snorted, stamping his hoof once, as if answering. Owen let out a short, breathless chuckle. Unbelievable. But the moment didn't last. A sharp, thunderous crack split the air. Owen's head snapped toward the ridge above them. A massive burning tree, its base weakened by fire, groaned under its own weight. Sparks rained down from its blackened branches. Then it fell. The burning tree collapsed, crashing down toward the narrow trail behind them. Move! Owen shouted. Blaze launched forward, hooves digging into the loose dirt. He barely cleared the impact zone as the tree slammed down inches behind them. A shock wave of embers and dust exploded outward, sending Owen stumbling. Blaze whinnied sharply, ears pinned back, hooves kicking in fear. Owen coughed. waving a hand to clear the dust. His heart pounded like a war drum, adrenaline surging through his veins. That was too close. He turned to Blaze, expecting panic, but the Mustang wasn't running. His chest still heaved, but he wasn't bolting into the fire. He was watching Owen. And then, just like before, he made a choice. He took a slow, hesitant step toward the firefighter. Owen's breath caught in his throat. This wild, untamed horse was choosing to stay. He swallowed the lump in his throat. "All right, partner," he murmured. "Let's get the hell out of here." The flames roared behind them as they ran again. The trail twisted upward, a brutal incline covered in loose dirt and fallen branches. Every step was harder than the last. Blaze powered forward, muscles straining but never slowing. Owen ran beside him. His fire gear weighed him down like armor. The heat was unbearable. The smoke was suffocating. They needed to find a way out, fast. Then Blaze suddenly skidded to a stop. Owen nearly crashed into him. "What the hell?" he started. Then he saw it. The ground ahead was gone. A massive landslide had wiped out the path. Nothing left but a steep drop into the canyon below. Owen's stomach dropped. No way forward. No way back. And the fire was almost on top of them. Blaze paced anxiously, ears twitching, nostrils flaring. He could smell it too. They were out of time. Owen's mind raced. Think, damn it, think. His eyes darted toward the slope beside them. It wasn't a trail, it was a nearly vertical wall of dirt and rock. He turned to Blaze. "Can you do this?" he muttered. The Mustang locked eyes with him. For one brief second, understanding passed between them. Then Blaze leapt. Owen's breath caught in disbelief as the stallion hurled himself down the slope, hooves barely touching the unstable ground. No hesitation, no fear. Owen had no choice but to follow. He threw himself down after him, boots skidding, hands grabbing for tree roots, anything to slow his descent. Blaze was ahead, moving with instinct, dodging fallen logs, finding footholds Owen never could. For the first time, Owen wasn't leading. He was following. The slope finally leveled out. Owen hit the ground hard, barely staying upright. Blaze was already there, standing tall, ears forward, watching him. Owen let out a shaky breath. They had made it, but they weren't safe yet. The fire still raged above them. And now they were at the bottom of a valley, boxed in. Blaze tossed his head, sniffing the air, searching. Owen narrowed his eyes. "He's looking for a way out," he whispered. Then he nodded. "All right, big guy." He took a breath. "Lead the way." Blaze turned toward the trees and ran. This time, Owen followed not as the rescuer, but as the one being rescued. Blaze moved like a shadow through the smoke, weaving through the smoldering valley with speed and precision no human could match. His powerful muscles flexed beneath a soot-streaked coat, hooves kicking up dust and embers as he navigated a maze of scorched earth and fallen trees. Owen followed, legs burning, lungs raw, fire gear weighing him down like a lead vest. Every step was agony. But he didn't stop. He trusted Blaze now. The stallion wasn't panicked. He was focused, ears alert, nostrils flaring, eyes sharp. He was leading them somewhere, and Owen didn't dare question it. Above them, the fire still raged, walls of flame devouring everything, smoke blotting out the sky. The valley had become a trap. Owen could barely see a few feet ahead, but Blaze never faltered. He paused once, sniffed the air, then veered left, sprinting toward a narrow, winding path that seemed to vanish into the heart of the inferno. Owen's heart slammed in his chest. "No, no, no," he muttered. "That's a dead end." But then he saw it. Just beyond the flames, a break in the valley wall. A way out. Blaze had found it. Owen pushed harder, struggling to keep up. The fire was closing in fast, licking at trees, swallowing the ground behind them. The narrow path was their only shot, but it was steep, rocky, barely wide enough for a horse. If Blaze slipped or if Owen fell, it was over. Blaze didn't hesitate. He snorted, ears back, muscles coiled. Owen gritted his teeth. "All right, partner," he rasped. "Let's finish this." The stallion dug in his hooves and ran. Owen sprinted after him. The path tightened, forcing Blaze to slow, to place every step with care. His hooves knocked loose pebbles down the sheer drop beside them, but he kept moving. Owen's boots slipped on the loose terrain. He reached for low branches, jagged rocks, anything to stay upright. Every second counted. Then came a deafening crack. Owen looked up just in time to see another burning tree collapse, its flaming branches crashing toward the narrow trail. They weren't going to make it. Blaze skidded to a stop, his chest heaving, eyes wide. The path ahead was blocked. The fire behind them surged. A dead end. Owen's stomach twisted. He'd fought so hard. Led the Mustang to safety. But now, he'd led them into a trap. Blaze pawed the ground, ears flicking back toward the flames. He wasn't panicking. He was thinking. Owen's pulse raced. We need another way. Blaze turned sharply, then looked up. Owen followed his gaze. The canyon wall. It was steep. Nearly vertical. But not impossible. Blaze backed up a step, eyes fixed on the slope. No way, Owen whispered. You can't. But before he could finish, Blaze reared up, then jumped. Owen watched, breath frozen in his lungs as the Mustang dug his hooves into the rocky incline. Muscles flexing, kicking off the ground, clawing his way upward. It was raw, impossible power. For a moment, his back legs slipped. Blaze scrambled. Dirt rained down. Owen's heart stopped. Then, with one final leap, Blaze reached the top. He stood tall against the fiery sky, coat shimmering with sweat and embers. He had made it. Owen could barely breathe. Then Blaze turned and looked back. Waiting. You've got to be kidding me, Owen whispered, staring up at the slope. The flames roared behind him. He had no choice. The heat pressed against Owen's back like a furnace. The fire was almost on top of him. He looked up. Blaze stood silhouetted at the canyon's edge, chest heaving, nostrils flaring, waiting. Owen swallowed hard. You're serious, he muttered. Blaze stamped a hoof, his ears flicking forward. Owen let out a breathless laugh. All right, big guy. He ran for the wall. Loose dirt slipped beneath his boots. His legs screamed. His arms clawed at roots, jagged rocks, anything to pull himself up. But the gear was heavy, and he wasn't built for this kind of climb. Then movement. Blaze shifted, lowered his head. Owen blinked in disbelief. Was he? The Mustang leaned down, neck extended. An unspoken invitation. Owen reached out. Blaze nudged him. A push, steady and strong. Not just a gesture. Help. With a grunt, Owen grabbed the thick mane. Okay, go. Blaze braced himself. Owen climbed, pulling with everything he had. Muscles screamed. Boots scrambled for grip. And then solid ground. He collapsed onto his side, gasping, chest rising and falling like a drum. Above him, Blaze stood watch, still powerful, alive. Owen laughed, hoarse and ragged. You're not normal, he wheezed. You're something else. Blaze snorted, flicking an ear as if unimpressed. Owen rolled to his elbows, eyes sweeping the horizon. The fire still roared in the valley below. But up here, they were safe. For the first time since it started, they had won. Owen's arms ached. His legs felt like dead weight. His lungs still fought for clean air. But they had made it, and he hadn't done it alone. He looked at the Mustang. Coat streaked with ash, eyes sharp with intelligence. For a long moment, neither moved. Then Owen murmured, voice low, "You really saved me." Blaze didn't move, just stood by his side. They weren't just man and horse anymore. They were something more. Owen slowly pushed himself to his feet, muscles trembling, his fire gear coated in ash and sweat. His whole body screamed for rest, but they weren't out of the woods yet. The horizon ahead was scorched black. Smoke still curled across the sky. But the worst of the fire was behind them now. Blaze stood nearby, his ears flicking toward distant crackles of fire. He shifted his weight, then glanced back at Owen. Waiting. Owen wiped soot from his forehead. Yeah, I hear you, he muttered. No time to rest. The Mustang let out a deep huff as if satisfied with the answer, then turned, heading toward the open plains that stretched beyond the canyon's edge. Owen watched him move with purpose. You know the way out, don't you? Blaze paused, glanced back again, then kept walking. Owen let out a slow breath. All right, partner, he whispered. Take us home. They set off together. The land ahead was a patchwork of destruction and survival, burned trees, blackened stumps, but also pockets of green where life clung on. Blaze picked his way carefully, hooves light against the ash-covered ground. He seemed to know where to go, instinct guiding every step. Owen followed, letting the Mustang lead. The deeper they went, the quieter it became. The roar of the wildfire faded into eerie silence. The forest was hushed, wounded. Then Owen's radio crackled to life. He jumped. Carter? Carter, do you copy? It was his team. Owen fumbled for the radio, his throat dry. I'm here. A long pause. Jesus, Carter? We thought you were dead. Owen exhaled slowly. Not yet. Where the hell are you? He looked around. No landmarks. No roads. Just Blaze leading the way. I'll get back to you on that, Owen said. Do you need rescue? He looked again at Blaze, strong, steady, still leading them through untouched ground like he belonged here. Because he did. Owen didn't. But Blaze did. His chest tightened. The Mustang wasn't coming with him. This was his home. His wild. His freedom. Owen lifted the radio again. Negative, he said finally. I'm moving. A pause. Copy that. We'll track your signal. The radio went silent. Blaze had stopped walking. He stood at the top of a grassy rise overlooking a wide, golden plain untouched by fire. A safe place. He knew it too. Owen's throat tightened. This was goodbye. The Mustang's ears flicked toward him. Waiting again. Owen stepped closer, resting a hand on the stallion's neck. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then, quietly, Owen said, You're free now, big guy. Blaze's ears twitched. He took a step back. Then another. His dark eyes lingered for a moment longer. And then he turned and ran. Owen watched him go. His chest tightened. His throat burned not from smoke, but from something deeper. Blaze disappeared into the horizon. His powerful legs carried him back into the wild. And Owen stood alone, firefighter, survivor, changed man. Then, with a bittersweet smile, he lifted his radio. All right, boys. Let's go home. The open plains stretched endlessly before him. The last curls of smoke drifted on the horizon. Blaze was gone. His chestnut frame swallowed by the wilderness. Owen stood frozen, body aching, heart caught in his throat. The fire was behind him. He was alive. Blaze was free. So why did it feel like something was missing? He inhaled deeply, trying to shake the heaviness in his chest. It was the right thing, he muttered. He's wild. He belongs out there. But the words felt hollow. A gust of wind stirred the tall grass. Then something else. A sound. Faint. Distant. Hoofbeats. Owen stiffened. He turned sharply. Nothing. Just the empty plains. He let out a long breath. Damn it, Carter, he whispered. You're hearing things. He turned to continue walking. And stopped. At the top of the hill stood Blaze. The Mustang's chest still heaved from the run. His coat was streaked with ash. But his dark eyes were locked on Owen. He wasn't running. He was waiting. Owen's breath caught. You've got to be kidding me. Blaze stomped his hoof once. His ears flicked forward. Owen took a slow step closer. You came back. Blaze's tail flicked. Nonchalant, almost unimpressed. Owen laughed, raw and breathless, rubbing a hand through his sweat-drenched hair. The Mustang had been free. He could have vanished into the wild forever. But he chose to return. Owen shook his head, smiling. I guess I can't argue with that. Blaze snorted. Owen stepped forward, hands out slowly. All right, big guy. If you're coming with me, let's do this right. Blaze didn't move. Instead, he lowered his head. Owen reached out, brushing his fingers along the Mustang's battle-worn face. Rough, warm, alive, trust. Owen swallowed hard. That kind of trust he hadn't given or received in a long, long time. Okay then, he whispered. Without hesitation, Blaze lowered himself slightly, an invitation. Owen blinked. You serious? Blaze flicked an ear. Owen laughed softly. All right, fine. With one last breath, he grabbed hold of the thick mane and pulled himself onto Blaze's back. The second he settled, Blaze took off. Wind ripped past them. The world blurred. Pain, exhaustion, doubt. They all disappeared. Owen leaned forward, gripping tight. For the first time in years, he wasn't running from something. He was riding toward something. Blaze moved like the wind, his powerful muscles rippling beneath Owen as they raced across the open plains. The firefighter leaned forward, gripping the Mustang's thick mane. The ache in his muscles faded beneath the rush of adrenaline. For the first time in a long time, Owen felt free. The golden light of dawn crept over the horizon. Behind them, the nightmare of Wildfire faded into smoke and memory. Ahead, the world was wide open. Blaze slowed his pace as they approached a dirt road, the first sign of civilization in miles. A red fire truck sat parked in the distance, its emergency lights still flashing. Owen's radio crackled. "Carter, do you copy?" He exhaled, pressing the button. "Yeah, I'm here." Pause. "Jesus, Carter. Where the hell did you find a horse?" Owen chuckled, running a hand along Blaze's soot-covered neck. "Long story. You all right?" Owen looked down at Blaze, the horse who had saved his life just as much as he had saved the horses. He nodded. "Yeah, I'm good." Blaze came to a stop near the fire truck. His ears flicked at the sound of approaching voices. A few firefighters stepped forward, expressions shifting from relief to confusion. One of them, a younger guy named Mason, gawked. "You just found him in the fire?" Owen slid off Blaze's back. His boots hit the ground with a solid thud. He winced, his body still sore from everything they'd been through. He glanced at Blaze. "Something like that." Blaze stood tall, his eyes scanning the group of strangers. His muscles were still tense, but he didn't bolt. He didn't run. Owen reached up and rested a hand on the Mustang's neck. Blaze's ears twitched, relaxed. Mason cleared his throat. You bringing him back with us?" Owen hesitated. The question should have been easy. Blaze was a wild horse. He belonged out here, free. But the thought of walking away now made something twist deep in Owen's chest. He looked into the Mustang's eyes. Dark, intelligent, familiar. Blaze had already made the choice once, and Owen knew he wouldn't be the one to walk away. He tightened his grip slightly on the mane. "Yeah," he said finally. "He's coming with me." Mason blinked. "You serious?" Owen smirked. "Dead serious." Blaze snorted, tossing his head like he agreed. Mason let out a slow whistle. "Well, hell, guess you made a new best friend." Owen patted Blaze's neck. "Not just a friend," he said. "Something more." He turned toward the truck. "Let's head out." Mason raised a brow. How exactly are we transporting a wild Mustang?" Owen grinned, glancing at Blaze. "We're not." Blaze was already moving, walking beside Owen as if he'd always belonged there. Owen grabbed the thick mane, swung himself back up, and gave a small nudge with his heels. Blaze took off, galloping alongside the fire truck. Wind rushed past them. The horizon stretched wide. Owen didn't know what came next, but for the first time in a long time, he wasn't afraid to find out. With Blaze at his side, he knew one thing for sure. He had found something worth holding on to. Blaze and Owen's journey was nothing short of miraculous. What began as a desperate fight for survival became something deeper, a bond forged not just in smoke and flame, but in trust, instinct, and unspoken loyalty. Owen thought he was the rescuer, but in the end, Blaze saved him too. Now, their story continues, not as man and wild animal, but as partners, companions, survivors. Owen didn't bring Blaze out of that fire. Blaze chose to come with him, and that choice changed everything. As the fire truck rumbled down the road and Blaze trotted alongside it with ease, no one could quite believe what they were seeing. But Owen didn't need them to understand. He just needed to keep moving forward toward whatever came next. Blaze was more than just a horse. He was home. And sometimes the family you find in the fire is the one that stays with you forever.